Asterisk, I want to tell you a story, but not just any story. It's a 2,600-year-old journey of a man born a prince, who walked away from everything: wealth, luxury, certainty, not because he was lost, but because he needed to understand suffering. His name was Siddhartha. He had everything the world told him would make him happy, and yet, like many of us today, he felt a strange sense of disconnection. So he left it all behind, not to escape the world, but to understand it. Asterisk, when the outer world fails us, what if healing doesn't come from adding more but letting go? Asterisk, it often starts with a question whispered in our hearts during the darkest moments. There has to be more than this, right? That's where Siddhartha began his journey. And perhaps, that's where you're beginning yours too. And that way begins not in a temple far away, but right where you are, right here, right now. Asterisk, you'll learn why his teachings are more relevant today than ever, and how they offer a path not just out of suffering but into real, lasting joy. So sit back, breathe, and let your heart soften. Because sometimes, the way forward begins by being still. When Siddhartha Gautama left the palace walls behind, he wasn't just stepping away from gold and silk, he was stepping into the truth of life, raw, unfiltered, and often painful. For the first time, he saw what we often try to ignore: old age, sickness, death, and in the midst of it, a wandering monk with peaceful eyes. That encounter changed him forever. Asterisk, the beginning of a spiritual journey, but unlike most, he dedicated his entire life to finding the answer. He tried extremes: deprivation, silence, fasting, to the point of collapse, but in the stillness of his suffering, he heard a deeper wisdom emerge. Neither indulgence nor denial is the way. And so, under a Bodhi tree, with no teacher but silence, no tools but breath, he sat, and there through the night he turned inward. Asterisk, it was something far more accessible and far more powerful. He observed his own mind. He watched thoughts rise and fall like waves. He felt cravings appear then dissolve. He saw fear as just another passing cloud. And as the sun rose, he realized a truth so simple, yet so profound: everything changes. Suffering arises when we cling to what is changing. Asterisk, the birth of the Buddha. That morning Siddhartha became the Buddha, the awakened one. But his awakening wasn't just for him, it was for you, for me, for anyone who dares to stop and look inward. You don't need to leave your job or sit under a tree for 49 days to begin this journey. The same path the Buddha walked still exists within you. Each time you pause and observe a thought instead of reacting, you're practicing what he did. Asterisk, you'll learn why impermanence isn't something to fear, but something that can set you free. Why letting go isn't weakness, but the door to clarity. This isn't just history, this is your story. You're not late. You're not broken. You're exactly where your healing begins. He didn't say, believe me, he said, observe your own life and see for yourself. The first teaching: impermanence, everything changes. The Buddha's first realization was this: everything is impermanent. Every joy, every sorrow, every breath. At first, this feels heartbreaking, but then, something shifts. If everything changes, then pain, too, will pass. The second teaching: mindfulness, returning to the now. Most suffering doesn't come from the present moment, it comes from the mind wandering into regret or worry. Mindfulness is the gentle art of coming back to your breath, back to your body, back to this moment, because here, right now, is where peace lives. Not in yesterday, not in tomorrow. The Buddha taught, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, man cannot live without mindfulness. The third teaching: letting go, the courage to release. So much of our pain comes from holding on. It's coming back to peace. The Buddha let go of his identity, his riches, even his certainty, and found freedom. Just renounce what no longer serves your heart. The fourth teaching: awakening, seeing life with clear eyes. The Buddha didn't discover something new, and that's what awakening is: not floating away, but waking up from the trance of fear, ego, and illusion. Every time you pause instead of react, every time you ask, is this true? You are awakening. The fifth teaching: compassion, beginning with yourself. But the Buddha taught, true compassion begins here, with how you speak to yourself, how gently you hold your mistakes, how willing you are to forgive and begin again. The path isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming more honest, kind, and aware. Asterisk, a light for the modern soul. These aren't just ancient teachings, They help you see clearly, feel deeply, and live freely. So, next time life feels too much, remember, everything changes. This moment is enough. Let go, awaken, begin with love. Maria is a single mom with 2 young kids. She used to meditate, read spiritual books, but one day, as she sat alone in the kitchen after everyone had left, she remembered a line she once heard: "This, too, shall pass." She breathed, she looked at the empty bowl on the table, and she smiled. The mess, the noise, the exhaustion, none of it would last. That moment was mindfulness. That breath was Dharma in motion. Daniel had built his whole identity around his job title, but now, that title felt like a trap. One night, he opened an old journal and wrote just 4 words: "I am not this, not the stress, not the salary, not the success or failure." And, in letting go of the need to prove himself, he felt light. He still worked, still tried, but now, with less grasping and more grace. The power of everyday practice. You see, Dharma isn't found only in temples. It lives in you. You pause when you breathe, when you choose kindness over reaction, presence over performance. The Buddha walked a great path. You don't need to be spiritual. You just need to be real. You don't need to escape your life. You need to return to it gently, mindfully, one breath at a time. And in that realness there is space for healing, for peace, and for awakening. Practice 1. 2 minutes of mindful breathing every morning before the world begins to ask for your attention. Give your attention to yourself. Set a timer for just 2 minutes. Close your eyes and simply breathe. Notice the inhale. Notice the exhale. Let the silence wrap around you like a warm blanket. You don't need to do anything. You just need to be. And that is enough. Practice 2. Whisper this mantra. This too shall pass. Whether you're stuck in traffic or in a storm of emotion, whisper this to your heart: this too shall pass. Like the clouds above a mountain, every feeling, every thought will drift on. You are not your anger. You are not your anxiety. Practice 3. Write one thing you're grateful for each night. Write down just one thing you're grateful for: a smile, a meal, a sunset, or simply the fact that you made it through. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about remembering that even in the chaos there is beauty. The Buddha taught, you, as much as anyone in the universe, deserve your own love and compassion. So next time you make a mistake, pause, breathe, and say, I'm human, I'm learning, and I'm enough. Your life is the practice. Spiritual practice isn't something you add to your life. It's how you live your life. In every breath, every choice, every gentle return to the present, you're walking the Buddha's path. And the more you walk, the softer the world becomes. Not because it's changed, but because you have. You are the path. The Buddha didn't come to save us. He came to show us how to save ourselves. Not by escaping life, but by entering it more fully. With breath, with presence, with love. His path wasn't in the Himalayas or ancient scrolls. It was always right here in the quiet courage of a human heart willing to see clearly and love deeply. You're not late. You're right on time. No matter where you are in life, whether lost or searching, broken or beginning, know this: you are exactly where your healing begins. It's not too late. You haven't missed the path. You are the path. A loving whisper for the soul. Please don't give up. Don't harden. Stay open. Stay kind. And when in doubt, breathe. Return. Begin again. If this message touched something in you, if you felt seen, or soothed, or reminded of what matters, I invite you to join this space. Subscribe to this channel, not just for more content, but for more connection. More softness, more moments like this. This is a place where ancient wisdom meets modern hearts, where silence speaks louder than noise, where you are always, always welcome. Until next time, take a deep breath. And remember, you are already whole.